So, from telesales trenches to running our own empires, today I'm joined by someone who's been part of my story since day one, none other than my old mate Eddy Rowley. We met back in the day cold calling for the British Safety Council. Fresh out of the military, or rather I was fresh out of the military. He was straight from Triton Showers, I think. Now he's the founder of EQL, consulting a sharp sales agency making some serious moves. In this episode, we're going to talk war stories, not literally, but we did have some banter. From the sales floor, resilience, building your own business from scratch, and what it takes to evolve from an employee mindset to a founder mentality. If you ever doubted whether your past could fuel your future, this one's for you. I've been looking forward to this for a long time. Eddy Rowley. How long has it been?
Since we've actually worked together, it's been 15 years. Yeah,
that's a long time, isn't it? I talk about this all the time, mate. I'm posting about it as well. The walk from Digbeth. It's got to be, what, 2 years since we've seen each other, probably?
Yeah, probably at least, I reckon.
A few messages?
Yeah, a lot of
Christmas.
lot of messages, a lot of positivity between us both, because we both want us to succeed.
Love, mate.
Yeah.
You still a better salesman than me, or am I a better salesman than you?
I think we've got totally different skill sets.
You're gay and you just need to say you're better, mate. You've got sales business. Mate, let's do a podcast. This is all about you. Eddy, tell everyone about yourself, mate, what you do. So, where did you come from?
So, my name's Eddy Rowley. I run a business called EQL Consulting. Essentially, we're an outsourced SDR company or lead generation company, but the method in which we do to generate leads for our clients is old school, pick up the phone and actually speak to people.
And get on there.
Yeah, which actually seems to be a bit of a lost art these days because everyone's just trying to do everything digitally and press a button, use AI, whatever else, and
copy it. Mate, I wasn't long ago, I was saying telesales is dead, but I'm about to get a master. So I'm going to give everyone a bit of a background. I met this lad, like, 24, 25 when I left the army. I knew fuck all about anything. We got a job in Digbeth opposite the slaughter. What was it? It's fucking, where's lambs got slaughtered opposite in that shithole in Digbeth?
Oh God, I can't remember.
Abattoir.
Yes, yeah.
There was like people in white coats and there's blood running out of it. Shut the door.
And it was rough as fuck down there.
And we had a telesales office for the British Safety Council. Don't know how I got the job. And I remember on the first day it was me, you.
Don't know if we can mention. Jesus Christ.
There were a few people. It was good. So, and I remember, mate, I still talk about it. I've talked about it in a few podcasts a bit on. Remember, I used to write on an A4 bit of paper. We used to walk up to the train station for like a 15-minute walk, didn't we? Back to the train station. The other day I'd put like HR manager. I was like, what's that? And you were like, are you fucking serious? I said, I got a fucking clue. I was like, human resources. Like, do they, what are you, farm people? A bit like the abattoir. And you were like, was it P60, what was it, you fucking P45?
Yeah.
There was loads of stuff, and it went on like this for, what did we do, 2 years?
I did 3 years, but bear in mind then as well, I knew absolutely nothing. Like, I was a complete moron back then as well, so you were even worse.
Mate, I was. Where did we end up? We went into Brindley Place.
Brindley Place, that was nice. I was there the other day with my missus actually for our wedding anniversary, which was decent. Yeah, all around that neck of the woods, like having a few beers and that. So
is Valentine's that still there?
Do you know what? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't actually go into that square bit, but I think it might be. Yeah,
it was good.
But it was good. It was great. I used to rinse our wages like within the first week of getting paid, and going out for lunch
with Welton. Remember
Welton?
Dave Welton.
Yeah, it was good.
Just
fun.
shout at each other about telesales. And look, I'm going to say it on camera now, right? We used to fight for top dog when we were on telesales.
Yes,
you are easily better than me now. I haven't done it for years, mate.
I stuck with it. I was crap back in the day though, and I was really lucky when I left because when I left, I went to go join a recruitment business, and what I had was just a lot of potential, I'd say, without blowing smoke up my own arse.
Loads.
But I just didn't know how to actually. I didn't know. I hadn't honed the craft or been taught how to do it properly.
Yeah.
And once I got taught the right methodology, I was like flying.
Yeah, because you're tenacious, mate.
Yeah, we got to be. Yeah. But you're tenacious too. You've got to be. If that's what it's
I couldn't
all about.
beat the phones again, mate. 80. Well, remember, we used to 85
kills me.
Fucking hell. What? So walk us through, mate. Let's go back to the start again because this is all about sharing the journey of a find, mate. It's completely uncensored. So fuck, bugger, swear what you like.
Yeah.
So you left British Safety Council. Then what did life look like, mate?
Yeah. So I'd worked in sales before the British Safety Council. I actually ended up getting the job at the British Safety Council because of Tracy, our boss at the time.
Yep.
Because she'd been my boss in my first, I'd say, proper
Wasn't it glass, conservatory windows?
Triton Showers.
Triton Showers.
Yeah. I used to sell electric showers into electrical wholesale primarily. So like all the big national wholesalers, I was ringing them saying, buy 10 showers and get one free. And I mean, it was an easy job, really. You just had to make enough calls. It was like the brand leader in electric showers. You just needed to make enough calls, and if the promotion was good enough, people would just order. And I always just tried to outwork everyone because I had an uncapped bonus then as well. It was crap bonus back in the day, but I was like picking up a tenner here, a tenner there, or whatever else. I was loving it. I was sitting there like getting all this money and thinking this is great. But I left Triton after being there for 5 years, believe it or not. I started there as a marketing apprentice, but I realised in marketing, I mean, I'm just not a creative guy at all. Honestly, I've got zero creative like bone in my body. I'm just someone who does stuff. I need a boss as well. I'll explain that a bit later on as well. Someone who actually needs to be told what to do. But if you tell me what to do, I'll go out there and I'll hammer it. Yeah. But yeah, I was there for 5 years. Worked in telesales in the end with Tracy. Did a really good job, but just got a bit disillusioned towards the end and bored and wanted to try something new. So I got a random job working for this student mobile phone network, and it was selling contract mobile phones to students in the student union. You sit at this table every day like this, and they give you all these like dummy phones, like a Nokia. Oh god,
like 8210.
Oh, it was like proper old school stuff. Yeah. I remember the first touchscreen phone came out, the LG Beauty. I think you had one actually. I remember back in the day. But I used to just grab people in the student union and say, "Are you on pay as you go or are you on contract?" and just get them to sign up because it was a much better deal than pay as you go. And again, I killed it at that. But I think purely because I was one of the guys that got off the stand that was actually trying to talk to people. Yeah, so I left that company. I got a feeling it was going down the pan as a business, and thankfully when I left, it died 3 months later. But basically, I got a call off Tracy, our old boss, and she said, I've started working at the British Safety Council, and we need some salespeople. I'd love you to join me again because she really liked me. She knew I'd rap for her. So she got me the job, joined. First day I walked in, there's you. I was like, oh my God, is this guy disabled or is he?
I haven't got a clue what I'm doing. I thought...
Cut that, by the way.
leave that, Tom. It's good. I was sitting opposite each other. I remember that it was only the week before, I thought I was going for the job, which was the recruitment centre that sent me to the job. And I just had to scapegoat off site for that one, mate. I was, 15 minutes before I walked into the interview before we had that outside in Digbeth, I was getting changed out of my ground worker gear, like was it the rigger boots and the machine Worcester covered in dust. So I remember seeing your face thinking, oh, and you don't look much different, mate, just a bit
chubbier,
bigger
and older.
So mate, how old are you now?
40.
So it's nearly 20 years ago you started your sales career, and you finally at this point. So when we left the British Safety Council, what did you go and do?
So I left the British Safety Council again. I felt like I wasn't doing a good job, if I'm honest with you, at the time. I felt like maybe we weren't really that well appreciated, and I just couldn't see a future path for me. So I went to a recruitment company called BMS in Coventry, and
they're quite big, aren't they?
They were really big at the time. They're still big now, but they were a real big national firm at the time with like 6 offices, and they had an office in Dublin and 3 in Australia as well. The business is kind of segmented a little bit now, but it's still a big force in the world of tech and sales recruitment and training. But they liked me, and they asked me if I wanted to work for them instead, so I got a job. But it was the best thing I could have ever done because they were just so good at training people. And it was brutal training. You'd never get away with it today. I mean, I train a bit like it today, up to where you can, but it was. Go on,
give people some insight because times have changed a lot.
Yeah.
So when you say brutal, because I thought a bit of a maggot anyway.
Yeah, I mean they'd basically you just had people going in on you if you did something wrong, and I mean the piss taking was off the charts. Like you'd have to have really thick skin to survive.
Worse than what we used to chat to each other. I used to be quite. I was.
Yeah, I mean, there's probably a bit more venom with you actually, right?
No, did it work?
It absolutely worked. Yeah, because I mean, I've got something in me, and you're possibly the same. I love proving people wrong.
No, you definitely
and if someone doubts me, I'm like,
I could fucking get that out of you in about a second. I just had to literally took you like go. but you can't.
Yeah.
It was like so simple.
I always feel like if someone tries to belittle me, I've got to bury you now. I've got to try and show you that
Easy.
you've made a mistake, which is probably, I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but I think as well, because I left school, I didn't have any kind of decent education. I mean, I just had a few GCSEs. I got an A in music, which yeah.
What's that, a recorder?
Yeah, and then everything else was just a few C's here and there. And then I didn't go to college. None of my mates went to college. None of my mates went to university. So sales is like the only way you can make a bit of cash. But anyway, within BMS, I did really well. I actually ended up being their top biller as a they called it a CDE at the time, but someone that found jobs.
Yeah.
So pure new business, going out and finding new jobs for us to work on as a recruitment business. And it was recruiting salespeople as well. So I was spending my days dealing with sales leaders. It was all sales directors back then. There weren't VPs of sales and CROs and stuff. It was just sales directors or business development directors. But that was really how I cut my teeth in the prospecting side of things. And I was there for 3 years. And I then met my wife, and she lived in Northampton. I was working in Coventry and living in Nuneaton at the time, and it just wasn't really going to be sustainable for me to start building a relationship with her and still work out of Coventry. So I decided to get my first job working in field sales, and I went to go and work for a technology company that did transport, like fleet management software, basically. And I was immediately hated as soon as I joined that company because I was the only one picking up the phone. But I was like, I had it in me. I was like, I'm one of those people as well. Sorry if I keep kind of going off all over the place, but I don't know what motivates you in life. But what motivates me is fear generally. Like it's weird. That's what gets me out of bed and gets me going in the morning. And when I start a new job, I'm like, I can't have this fail. Like I've got just got to make it happen. So I got into this company. I think I joined just before Christmas, and I was like dialing like a madman, adding new contacts to their CRM and so on and so forth, just massively outworking everyone. And I started consistently delivering them, which was great. But because I came in and kind of did things differently, not just waiting for marketing leads or sending out a few emails, everyone was like, oh shit.
And then it looked like being shown up.
Exactly, yeah. So, and then my sales manager at the time tried to get me to train that whole team, like within 2 weeks of me being there. And you can imagine how that went down like a lead balloon. But I was there for 5 years. I ended up getting promoted to be their national sales manager. So I was supporting the sales director with their account management team and their new business team. Just trying to mentor.
Why was that? That was more than just calls. I think I remember you being absolutely relentlessly organised. You've got a real ability to read people. I think even down the phone is fucking hard.
I think that's my big skill. Yeah, I think that relationship building. Like I'm able somehow to build rapport with people,
even over a phone.
Yeah. I actually take quite personally when people don't like me. I'm like, I feel like a bit of a dagger to the heart. I'm like, why don't they like me?
But then look at where all these, I wouldn't say insecurities, I think it's the wrong way, but
I'm massively insecure.
All these internal feelings of care that create anxiety. So it comes back to something else, you hearing the word, fucking feeling anxious. Oh, fuck off. You're supposed to. It's a normal feeling. It's about how you manage it.
Yeah.
And all I get from listening to this, and I know you anyway, is that myself, like I don't want to fail, but you turn that very raw, normal feeling into like motivation.
Yes.
Right, I'll either let it consume me, which I think is fucking popular in the world now.
Yeah.
Find a pill for that.
Blame everyone else for it.
Yeah, blame everyone else. Oh, you can't make me feel like that. Well, fucking don't. Change your framework. Yeah. Like you're just feeling like that because of the way you're set up.
100%.
Manage it.
You just got to just dive into it head first and fight it.
Yeah, and
face the dragon.
Ask questions, mate.
Yeah.
And then I think this is a perfect example because telesales and sales has been your craft your entire career. And we end up where I saw that promoter. It was only I believe fucking 6-8 months ago. I think you had a team of 4, didn't you?
Yeah, it's gone really, really well. So since when I was national sales manager at that place, they got bought by private equity, and it just
goes to shit.
Yeah, it felt like at the time like it was more about sales at all costs, not about delivering a great service to the clients. And I just felt a bit disillusioned in the end. I thought, I just don't like the way this is going. So I left that company, and I actually had a random piece of luck. Some guy rang me who I barely knew, saying, I'm working for this company, they're hiring for a business development person. It was a subsidiary of a massive Japanese conglomerate. And it was a step up for me in terms of like types of accounts and the technicality of the solutions that I was going to be selling, and they were just a really structured outfit. So I joined them after said transport technology company as an account director, and then I was managing transport and logistics for them as a sector. So I was working with some of the world's biggest 3PLs, so the likes of GXO, Seva Logistics, and DHL, and so on and so forth. And I was involved in warehouse execution solutions, so like anything from autonomous mobile robots to workflow applications on rugged enterprise hardware and so on and so forth. But what I was getting exposure to working there was how a warehouse works. So I'd kind of had all the transport, how a transport operation works, and then I was getting the education on how a warehouse works.
We're going to need you in like 6 months.
But I could definitely help you, by the way, with certain things anyway. But yeah, I mean, it's fascinating. And I love logistics and supply chain. I'm an absolute nerd now, honestly. Like, I love it. And working with some of the people I work with in the 3PL space, there's a guy called Robbo, Mike Robson, I'll give him a little shout out. He gave me like an education in logistics because he was working for this big 3PL, and they had clients ranging from major supermarkets right through to chemical companies, fashion brands. So I've seen all these different products in warehouses, how they were moving and so on and so forth, and what they came in on, what they went out on, what kind of automation they had in place. And it was like going to university, but on the job.
Yeah. And I've always liked learning, mate.
Mate, it's all about learning for me.
Yeah.
Like, money's great, but I love feeling like I'm learning as well at the same time, which sounds sad, but it's true.
No, it's good.
And anyway, that company I was working for, like, it was a big international firm, and I felt I'm just a typical English guy. I only speak English. I can speak a bit of French. Je m'appelle Eddy. But like, I think with that company, if I didn't speak like Spanish or a couple of other languages, I was never going to progress to where I wanted to progress to. And I got to the point where the sales director for my team left the company. I asked for his job. I felt that they didn't really want to give it to me.
Yeah.
And I just thought, I've always been good at lead generation. I'd always had it in my mind that I wanted to start this company. And because I had a lot of experience selling complex and high value solutions, I thought that's what I want my niche to be, to work with these companies. They've got these complex and high value solutions, and they've got a team of salespeople that won't prospect, either because they don't feel like they should have to prospect anymore because they're too big and important, or they're too busy. And you often find as well that they're scared to pick up the phone, or they just haven't got the resilience and the determination to do it. Also, I think there is a perception, a lot of people see it as beneath them, but
they do,
the best salespeople I know are the ones that will proactively go out and prospect for themselves, but they're the minority in the people that I've met in my entire career. So we help salespeople now. So I started this business. I started on my own. I left the company I was working for. I managed to get one contract in place, which was with my ex-employer, that delivery management firm.
Net.
Yeah, I got it for 12 weeks, and they gave me a punt. And I just thought to myself, all I'm going to need is my mobile phone and my laptop, and if it all goes wrong, I'll just find a job.
Yeah, nice way to think.
Yeah.
That framework of making it comfortable to move.
Yeah, and in terms of what I was earning on that contract, it wasn't a million miles away from what I was earning full-time being employed anyway. So I did that, and then within the first week, I'd won my second contract, and I just got too busy too quickly. And the problem is running the business. You'll know this as well. How the fuck do you run a business?
You can't work on it when you're working in it.
No, and no one teaches you how to do it. So you kind of just like muddling your way through. I had a terrible accountant when I first started. He didn't help me at all. And yeah, I just felt a bit lost, if I'm honest with you, and really tired, really busy, and just not knowing where to take the next step. And someone had said to me that they got a bit of, they'd paid for a bit of mentorship from an ex-business leader, and it really helped them kind of just think outside the box and think strategically where to go next. So because I was quite tight, and I was trying to watch me costs and so on and so forth, I went to my ex-boss who ran that recruitment firm, because I knew he'd retired a couple of years ago. And he was really enthused to meet me anyway. He's a weird guy, which I'll go on to in a minute. He's got no hobbies. His hobby is like business. That's what he enjoys doing. Doesn't even like music. Drives everywhere in his car without any music on. Just likes to think of it, and he's thinking about business all the time. And he's an ex-economics graduate, so he's just very good, like with money and figures. So anyway, Ian, my business partner now, he'd been out of work. He'd gone through some kind of management buyout in his last place at BMS, and he was just bored. So we
winner.
started
There it is.
talking, and he liked the business model. And then after 3 or 4 meetings, we said, "Why don't we just go into business together?" Because I needed his help, and he can't do what I can do. So actually, it was like a totally different skill set. But just without sounding too corny, he drives me at the fucking wall, but I probably do with him as well. But it's like it was like a match made in heaven, really.
Yeah.
So, but where he's really strong is he just knows how and when to make the next move, and he gives me the confidence to do it too.
Yeah.
So
And you can focus a little bit harder on the revenue generation.
exactly, I focus on what I'm good at, and I try and park everything that is a distraction that I'm not good at and actually stresses me
Yeah,
out.
mate, without knowing it, for like people watch this for founders, is one of the biggest skill. I think if you try and do everything on your own. I saw a bit of a statement out. People are nervous about giving shares away. You know, now I've got God knows how many businesses and that many business partners. People kind of, even at the weekend, people going, "Oh, will it work?" I'm like, "Fucking hell!" When it does, it literally just see me with a Ferrari on the fucking drive.
Yeah.
It'll be overnight.
Yes.
But then you reference it to Bezos. What's he got now? 9%. Well, Mosey did a little clip the other day of all the most successful people out there diversified pretty quick. I think especially in a time where, I mean, look at I think the world's got competitive as fuck. Like AI is not going to help in terms of being able to really carve out a niche. I don't think.
Yeah.
It'd be hard to be special. It'll be hard to stand out. So yeah, I think that one for me has always been find someone who's fucking better than you.
100%, yeah.
Seriously.
Absolutely. And it's funny you say that about like a competitive edge with AI. If everyone uses AI, where is your competitive edge? You've got no competitive edge because you're all doing the same fucking thing.
Yeah, it all sounds
you're all
the
using the same engine
Yep.
to get the output.
Yeah.
Whereas humans, and I hope this still remains the case, I am scared of AI, I'm not going to lie, because I don't know how good it's going to get or when it's going to get there. But certainly at the moment, actually having a human on the end of the phone that's able to build a relationship, that's able to build trust, that's able to read the room and be dynamic on the call and duck and dive and have that intelligent, thoughtful conversation, AI is nowhere near.
Consciousness.
Yeah. And actually that individual is your competitive advantage in a world of
Yeah, the character.
mass, bland, generic outreach.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
also, mate, I looked at it because we've got the AI automation station, which is a division of the agency now that does it, and we're already. If I heard an AI like call, I'll put it down. I like it's such an unbuilt. I don't want to talk to a fucking computer. It's not listening.
Yeah, it
really.
sounds. There's a bit of a repulsion to it, and I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but then again, and we'll come on to it. I thought in my head, you know, how dead is telesales with all the other, like, because you know me, quite social media orientated, quite outreach orientated.
And you're good at that. Hence,
Yeah.
this is good.
Yeah,
Hence why I wanted to come on it.
Yeah, but I think there's still this bit you reminded me, especially when we start talking. And our other business partner, Rich, used to run a big fucking 200-man telesale centre. I'm like, I've got fond memories of that. And you do think, actually, Gary Vee talks about community. So again, if people watch this, like the biggest thing I say now is how do we shield and protect against AI, automation, soulless businesses that are there just to take your money? Are they really providing services? And it's about that community piece.
Yeah.
And that's built by the likes of me and you ringing someone and remembering someone's fucking... How was a kid's birthday last week? Fucking hell, you remember that, did you?
Yeah,
Do you remember those bits where you build friendship? And I don't think that's ever going to go away. We're tribal as a human species, I guess. So, but also that's going to get harder and longer to build. And it's probably harder and harder to build in any other manner than human connection.
Yeah.
So I think it could pivot. I don't know. It's definitely a question I ask myself.
Yeah.
Already feel more confused now I just spoke out loud.
No, I'm hoping by that point I'll have exited my business by that point when it takes over. That'd be
Is
the
that
dream.
the plan? So let's
Yeah.
get into the nitty gritty then. So so the business, what does it do? How long are you in? Who's in it? What the services? What's some highlights?
So EQL, we're now a team of 13. We just made a job offer on Friday actually with a lady who's going to be joining us in a couple of weeks. But we started out, like I say, with me on my own. I worked for maybe 6 months officially on my own. Brought in Ian. So Ian was this ex-director at BMS. He started it in the 90s, grew it to like 200 staff and so on and so forth. So he's just a really good business brain who sat behind me. He gave me the confidence then to get our first office in April 2023 when we brought on our first hire, which is a lad called Matt, who's an absolute superstar. He heads up our sales ops now. We got really lucky with our first hire just through LinkedIn. Someone who actually, again, like the lad you were talking about today in here. I'm really sorry I've forgotten your name, but just someone who wants to graft and prove himself.
Yeah.
Yeah, isn't entitled, just wants to get
How
on
old
with
is
it. He's 25 now. He's 23 when he joined.
Yeah.
But he's so mature for his age. Like he's just.
So is Tom.
Yeah.
The guy looks about 50 in a body.
But he's just a real great bloke.
And he's been with you 3 years.
He's been with
fucking experiences. So we cut to a quick break to shout out the official hydration partner of this podcast, Lifelines. Look how smooth that was. So whether you're an athlete, an entrepreneur, or just someone who wants to feel better every day, hydration is certainly key. That's why I created Lifelines, to bring science-backed supplements, clean hydration solutions, and proper wellness into your routine. And to add into this, whilst we're on the podcast, it is Founder Files. We're proud to be teaming up with the Flourish Foundry to bring better health into the business world. Hit the link in the show notes to try the range. I'm not just plugging it, I actually built it. www. Steep growth, mate. Because I remember looking, I always thought we'd chat online and stuff, but LinkedIn was like 4 people at the table, and the other day was 13, like Christmas dinner.
Well, we had, it kind of goes, it's stalls for ages.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden it's like bang.
That plateau, you just worry and then you work for it.
And then you have to build that platform again to build on again. Someone said to me recently, they said, getting from like 100 grand to 500 grand is a lot easier than getting from 500 grand to a million quid. Like, they said that's like that's really hard to get from that to that. And I've definitely kind of feeling that.
So what's the 13 doing then? What you give us a flavour of?
So our sales pitch or our proposition is ultimately, like I say, we're a strategic SDR business, so we're not just mindless dialers.
For those that don't know what SDR means,
so
SDI.
I always do this. Apologies. An SDR is a sales development representative. So basically, it's the word now that's commonly used for someone who's doing outbound prospecting.
Yep.
Predominantly by the means of the telephone and doing that kind of top of funnel sales stuff, identifying leads for a business. So the front end, cold face, new business. But rather than being like mindless dialers, we don't just get on the phone and make 150 calls a day. We only really work on either high value or complex propositions. For one, if they're not high value, it doesn't really tend to align with our fees. But our first job is to thoroughly understand our clients. So if I was working with you, Dave, I'd want to know everything about your business, your background, your heritage, who you're working with,
story, everything. Yeah,
what solutions we're going to be promoting, what's in scope, and why a company should choose to invest in those solutions. What is your ICP? So what does your ideal customer profile look like, and who typically makes up the decision-making unit? And then we'll work on building an initial data set. So we've really invested heavily in data.
Yep.
So we use tools like ZoomInfo, and then we use LinkedIn Sales Nav as well. So I don't know if you've seen ZoomInfo before.
I haven't. No.
Basically, there's a few platforms out there, but they're these huge SaaS platforms where you log in, and it's just
like Apollo.
Yeah, but just a better version, in my opinion. Okay. But it costs a lot. It's not cheap, so it's a big outlay for us on an annual basis, and it gets bigger every head that we bring on. But it's the same with LinkedIn Sales Nav as well. But it also integrates with LinkedIn, so we can search for people and then find all their contact details through Zoom as well.
Right.
And we can run like really tailored searches on there as well for our clients. Sometimes clients have got data, and that's like the utopia. But a lot of the time, we're having to find data for them and building those data sets, doing that market intel for them. And then once we've got that really good understanding of the client, we've crafted a really concise and clever pitch that's going to resonate and get them wanting to know more. We've understood what we need to ask these prospects in order to not only build credibility, but also validate that they're a good prospect for our clients.
Yep.
We get everything signed off with the client that we understand them, and then we go out and we pick up the phone. And it's just a case of speaking to people, delivering this value proposition with what sounds like expertise, but without being expert, because we're never going to be expert because we're not in our clients' businesses. But as soon as the conversation starts getting more technical, or we sense the buying signals, we slow the conversation down and we say, look, Dave, you need to speak to Jim, our client, because he's going to be able to take you through absolutely everything that we do and how it hangs together. When are you free for us to do that?
Yeah. And then do a warm intro then.
Absolutely. So our job is to try and find them highly qualified opportunities with their target market, and most importantly, with the stakeholders who, at the very least, are able to influence the procurement of their products or service.
And this is over and above just a fucking cold email, which some of these things 100%. You've actually spoken to someone.
100%. Yeah, and sometimes we'll have a conversation, we'll send an email, we'll get an email back saying, yeah, I'd love to meet with you, and that's superb. So we use email, but we don't do any...
Do you face-to-face, virtual calls?
So it depends on the client. Some clients want virtual meetings.
Yeah, I do now.
Some clients want face-to-face. So especially when you're in the world of like manufacturing or logistics, it's good to go out and walk the floor.
Have a look.
Because you can see what's there. But obviously you don't want to be going off on wild goose chases up to Stockton-on-Tees tomorrow. For
time away from the phone.
100%, yeah. So all we do is phone, and as soon as the meeting happens, we pass that baton across.
Fine.
Yeah.
So, mate, while we're on it, I want to get into some nitty-gritty here, because between us there's a fair bit of sales knowledge, especially your side of the table. Have you heard the word prospect, qualify, funnel? Take someone through. Yeah, this is so good he's trained. I know he's good at this. What do you mean by a funnel for someone that's sitting there going, like, let's go back to the basics of what we were taught. You know, that version of like, if you don't keep filling the funnel, 3-4 weeks later, the fucking thing's empty and it's too late. And what does a prospect mean? And what are those steps through as we find someone cold into hot, into warm, etc.
I'd say the really great thing about using our service is that often you find opportunities that no one else is aware of next. If you've got somebody that's kind of searching for your service on the market already, chances are if they've got anything about them, or if they're a bigger company, they'll have some kind of procurement process where they'll be looking at a number of solutions.
Yeah.
But ultimately, top of funnel is that kind of first interaction with a prospect, identifying that they're the right person to speak to, that they are able to influence the procurement process, they're part of that decision-making unit for any kind of deal.
Because what does that? So if people don't know we're going to do some education, that stops you wasting time, right? When you're
100%.
trying to understand, there's nothing fucking worse than spending your days talking to the wrong people. I think we learned that position quite early.
Oh God, I've made all those mistakes in the past. Yeah, 100%.
And so the funnel, when we're looking at, guys, Tom put a clip up, is literally a funnel. So you're talking about how can we get information or opportunities into the pipeline that are not going to waste time, that are a good use of time, I guess, and have an opportunity for you to convert. And then there's another thing here. Me and you used to hear no's all the time, didn't we?
Yes.
Fucking, it's not a no.
Yes.
I just haven't fucking spoke too long enough, yeah?
Yeah, exactly, 100%. And so lots of people use different methodology for like qualifying prospects. Like I always used, well, most recently in my career, I used something called BANT, which some people like, some people don't like, but it's have they got a budget? Are you speaking to somebody with authority? Have they actually got a need? And is there a timeline?
Nice.
And if there was...
I like that.
Back in the day, my last employed job, if they had 2 out of the 4, you could qualify that as an opportunity.
Nice.
And I don't think it's a bad rule to stick to, but I worked with companies before that are using things like Medic. It's a really popular like sales methodology, and it's quite widely adopted now. And there's another one called Scotsman as well. A lot of it's like common sense, which you've been in sales for a long time, but they are good frameworks to adhere to. But I say to our clients, look, as long as we're finding someone who is in your ideal customer profile and they're part of that decision-making unit, and we've booked a meeting with them and that meeting gets sat, we've done our job. The rest is down to you. That's where your sales team. So where we've perhaps had issues before, not necessarily issues, but I think some salespeople, unfortunately, especially in poor performing sales teams, you've often got a lot of entitled people in there, and it's almost as if they expect us to deliver meetings where they're going to receive a purchase order or a contract, which just
not happening.
It's never going to be the case. No, our job is to find opportunities for our clients so that their salespeople, who are typically far better paid than the people that I hire in my team, have to go out and actually earn their crust and go and actually sell the solutions.
What are you looking for in a salesperson?
Second, sorry.
What are you looking for in a salesperson? So for people in your team, is there a common set of traits that you see?
100%. And I'd say the big thing for me is just attitude and a bit of personality.
You can't have some character.
And everything else I can teach. Like, provided you've got the right attitude, i.e. you want to graft, and you've got the right personality, you'll fit in really well at EQL. If you're conscientious, that's like a double tick. I love conscientious people, and I've been, because of Ian's background in recruitment, and I'm not a terrible judge of character, I don't think. We've actually had we've recruited a lot of good people. Like we only actually lost one person who's left in the 2.5 years we've been trading, And then we had one lady who retired, but everyone else has kind of stuck out. I promise we're not like too nice. We are nice, don't get me wrong, we're nice people to work for. And I think
it'd be a great place just knowing you, mate. I think you'd be up there. You'd leave the day fulfilled, but it'd be a good environment.
It honestly depends, and like as a leader, same as you have to mask your emotions a lot of the time, even when you're feeling.
Do you I look at the team? That's why this is called uncensored.
So I have to just mask mine all the time, like stoic face. You know what I mean? Like nothing's bothering me.
Oh fuck that. We should all share our emotions, right?
I share mine at home with the missus, cry on the shoulder.
Yeah. And we've always had two different styles. Here's another thing: if you're watching this, it's about then who you surround yourself with. We do a lot with the college, right? So I say this on most of the podcasts. If you are a regular watcher, fucking just hit the same tone again. But there's a piece we go through at the end where we've got a lot of TQual students, and we had. Was it when Georgia, wasn't it? Was it Georgia me when we were in the latest one, sitting in the room, and I was like, I just said, I just need to speak to them. All the kids, all the young adults wanted to come work for us. So they'll stick their hands up. I'm like, fuck it then. I was like, just come next door. As soon as they start talking, one's like, oh, I'm into mountain biking. I'm like, yeah, you'll be all right. And they're gone. And she's like, how do you know this? I said, because I'm quite an emotional person in the office, because I'm juggling so many things on my own fault that, God forbid, would I want someone in the room that's going to feel awkward being in quite an exciting environment.
Yeah.
So I know. So I try and mould and make sure I'm not ever going to make someone feel uncomfortable with my personality, my nature.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing.
Yeah.
You do have, like, you haven't lost anyone. We had 4 of the students last year coming through the summer. They're coming every day unpaid. We've got 2 of them doing it now. They've seen what Tom's journey's been on. Tom's, as I said, he's 18. He's got a stake in the group of the level of the business, and he's fucking learning every day. He cuts all this. So I think out of that, like, if you're watching again, trying to give footnotes back to people, it's have a real understanding of what you're like, and then build people that will align with your values, right?
And the good thing with me and Ian as well, say as business partners, is like we disagree on things a lot.
Yep.
But we are aligned on most things. But even when we disagree,
why is that? Because I bet you're both. Your sole goal is the business, right?
Yes.
Not each
business
other's,
always
not
comes
one
first.
That's one up each other.
That's like our internal mission statement. The business always comes first. You know what I mean? Over everything. So, but it's always healthy disagreements. There's never any.
Probably.
Yeah, there's never any like.
Why would you want a load of yes men?
Well, exactly, because
fucking road to nowhere.
Yeah, exactly right. So that works really well, and but often, most of the time, we do agree on things, and normally with a bit of conversation, we'll agree on the right thing. But one thing I was going to say as well that's really important that we do that a lot of people don't do in our industry, because we're not unique. There's loads of companies that do what we do, but I just say to people, we do it well. That's the key thing. All of our team work in the office, so they don't work from home.
Yeah, no.
And
be right.
And the reason that's so important is how can you coach somebody who's sat in the jogging bottoms at home?
Yeah.
Like, how can you lift them up when they're having a really rough day? Because our job, the reason it's a business, is because no one wants to fucking do it.
Yeah,
so,
it's hard.
So that's the reason it's actually a business that's growing, and actually a tight economy isn't terrible for us because people need leads.
So old-fashioned call centres.
100%.
Why would they like where they were? Because it's an environment where you have to inject some fun into the room, because the bloody 100%. Thing is you've got to be resilient.
But
right?
also, Dave, you see someone who's doing a really good job. Like, you can see they're grafting. They're making very, very good phone calls. They're putting in the work. They're listening to the coaching they've received, and they're trying to enact all the right behaviours, but they're getting nothing from it. They keep getting no's.
Yeah.
But you can see they're doing all the right things. Well, with that person, you're not going to see that from home. You're just going to see that they've got nothing all day.
Yeah.
So you can put your arm around them metaphorically and say,
reinforce
keep doing it.
More of the same.
It's gonna happen. You just need to keep going.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, when you support people like that, it's so weird.
Happened with us though.
Just happens. Like, and you can see like the buzz and the relief, and everyone in the room then is like genuinely happy for that person that's kind of got through that dark time.
Team incentives when we used to do team incentives.
Yeah.
And fucking.
It's normally like an
early.
They get bonus, like they get money for performing, so that's their big incentive. But we'll do things like, we hit this amount of meetings, you can get out of here early.
Yeah. Because it's performance driven. Why waste your time?
100%. So, but what I love seeing as well, sometimes on a Friday, someone's behind on the work, and then the team will go, let me step in. I'll help them. I'll jump on what they're doing. I love that. Do you know what I mean?
Cool.
So it's a really good. We've created a really good environment where we celebrate success, which can be a bit cheesy for people. Everyone's like clapping.
You used to love that shit as well. I think it's good.
So obviously, a lot of people, that's not for everyone, but also, like I say, we lift people up as well at the same time. So
and you are good at that, I think. So, mate, to wrap this up, I think because I think we could go on forever. What would your couple of footnotes be? To always ask this to someone that's looking to go on the journey we've been on. What would be the couple of things, or you choose as many that would stand out for you that you feel were important?
I think if you're really good at what you do, you need to back yourself and just go for it, and just think you've got to plan out worst case scenario. What's the worst that can actually happen?
Yeah.
But generally, the worst that can happen is not something you can't recover from.
Yeah.
I honestly believe the hardest thing about starting your own business is the mental block of actually taking the leap.
Yeah, the risk.
Once you take the leap, you're like, I can never work for anybody again. And
Why
even if
didn't I do this sooner?
And even if this went wrong, I'll do anything. I'll figure out anything.
Yeah. You can go and get another job, right?
Yeah. 100%. Yeah, absolutely. But like you kind of alluded to earlier, find people who've got the skill sets that you haven't had, and look, just graft your nuts off. That's the key thing. If you graft your nuts off and you're good at what you do, you ain't going to fail, are you?
No, it's impossible to fail.
Yeah.
Especially if you take, I think it's a great mindset to have. If you were doing it for someone else already, it means there's an appetite for what you do. But you say, I do believe in you time and time again, and it's not something to be sniffed at or kind of looked down on, because we've all been there. But it's just as easy as just line those couple of things up. I think what I don't hear all the time, but you did very well, and that's what I did, is you have to sit back and assess, and you go, well, the if, buts, maybes, the pros, the cons, whatever you want to look like, and go, well, if I'm already doing it, I've got a bit of a shift and I've only got to do this, and the investment is nothing more than my time and potentially then some fucking job searching, it's really not that much of a risk. If you're in a position where you're risking house, home, babies, kids, fucking hell, probably not. But I think the framework of how you see your situation is key.
Yeah, I actually think as well, my business is actually in a lot of ways, there wasn't a lot of risk. It's not like I've got any capital equipment to buy.
Yeah.
I already had a mobile phone I was paying for with limited minutes. I already had an old laptop that I could use with some Google Sheets on it that's free anyway.
Yeah.
So there was no risk, really.
But it's still, I don't think it's supposed to can be like that, mate. It was like when I did some of the stuff we did, it's all you need. You can, if you look at most people now, when they're in a job, they want to be at home anyway.
Yeah.
Or they're in a car, or you're out. So it's the infrastructure's, until you get really big, is not required. But mate, it's been absolute mint having you on.
That's been fun.
Only because we've both got to get to another meetings. I think I'm going to start. I think if season 2 of all this stuff is coming to visit all the people who've come on in their workplace, mate. So because we can take this on the road quite easily.
Yeah, that'd be class.
So parting thoughts. Where does everyone find you? Or the business?
So you find me on LinkedIn, and it's Eddy with a Y, EDDY.
Got some really good LinkedIn posts.
Rowley, ROWLEY. I'm always talking about lead generation and SDR work and how to create more opportunities for your business. And then if you go to eqlconsulting.co.uk, you can find us on there.
Yeah.
That'd be the best 2 places.
Drop a comment under here. Any questions? As we always do, when this goes up, we'll both integrate and have some conversations. So if you've got questions about either what we're talking about, you want some more advice on sales, I'll let Eddy deal with some of this stuff, unless it's more the account management piece, which I really like. But yeah, you've got an opportunity to drop some comments in the below and ask some questions away.
Yeah, thanks very much, mate. Much appreciated.
Love, nice to see you again.
Good to see you.
So what a podcast that was. I certainly enjoyed it. It's good to get back on the old memory boat. Big thanks to Eddy Rowley for coming on. Mad to think how far we've come, mate, since those telesales days. If this episode has inspired you, reminded you how far you've come, do me a favour, hit follow or subscribe on your platform of choice. Drop a comment or review. It really helps us grow. As we said on the podcast, if you've got any questions, any help you're looking for, chuck some stuff in, we'll get back to you. Share this episode with your friends and anyone who's starting their own business, and tag someone you think we should bring on next. We've got more raw stories, lessons and inspirations on the way. Don't miss it. This is Dave Hamlet, and I'm signing off until next time. Stay hungry.